Sarah was homeschooled. She later went to college. She had a very religious upbringing. She would meet Jonathan Adleta, a Marine commissions officer who earned a Purple Heart in Afghanistan. And she had grown up with morals and religion. She needed to be married. I'm sure they fooled around before the nuptials, but he wanted to make an honest woman out of her. That's me being sarcastic. The two spoke about their thoughts, dreams, and plans for the future. Like what state to live in? Could we get an in-the-ground pool? When are we going to have children? And speaking of children, Jonathan was on board with that. He hoped for a daughter. He wanted to be able to have sex with his daughter. You can turn away right now if you want to. I'm telling you, this story is sick. Are you still there? Okay, let's go. In 2010, she became Mrs. Adleta. I'm sure that was one of the happiest days of her life. First comes marriage, and baby makes 3. Sarah would get pregnant. I bet he couldn't wait to see the sonogram. And it was a girl. And that was one of the happiest days of Jonathan's life. And as promised, Jonathan was able to do what was planned. Before there was any thought of picking out rings and the flavor of a wedding cake, Sarah Jayne Lippy would have to agree to letting Jonathan have daddy-daughter sex. I will refer to this as DDS for YouTube purposes. She would do anything to be with him. That's what Jonathan said, and he bragged about it. She said she liked the financial security and that she loved him. She was hoping one day the need for him to have sex with his daughter would stop, fizzle out. And as soon as their daughter entered the world, she was molested at birth. Exactly 1 year later, there was a divorce. Did Sarah have a come to Jesus moment and want to repent and stop this shit? Jonathan, still a Marine, was traveling all over. Did he find another woman and wanted to have a real relationship and leave his daughter alone in that type of manner? No and no. Jonathan filed for divorce. Wherever he was stationed, however far away, the abuse had still taken place towards his daughter. Sarah was flying on planes to bring this daughter to this man. She had driven from Florida to Oklahoma to bring their daughter to him. The divorce didn't matter. I wonder if that was in their divorce decree between them two. And the sexual abuse would still continue. Per request, she would send him videos of her abusing the little girl on Skype. Anything to satisfy him. Since daddy couldn't be there to do it, the next best thing was mommy. The family was growing. Sarah was with child again. No one was none the wiser, at least not to what was going on with the Adletas. However, a neighbor of Sarah's wondered why she kept wanting to babysit her children. She would ask over and over again, but she said it was in her gut, the feeling that something wasn't right about Sarah. She never let her watch her children. The proud parents had a baby boy now. Did you guess it? Yep, the boy was being sexually abused by Sarah. The parents would have sex with their children together. This was actually in their parenting plan. That's what they said, to have sex with their babies. So now the divorced couple, they started to see other people. Jonathan had a girlfriend now. They met on a dating site, 23-year-old Samantha Bryant. Ironically, she was a single mother raising 2 children of her own. When you know. Samantha also had a young daughter too. The sick and twisted Marine probably told Samantha the same thing he told Sarah. Constant talk about DDS. and he now could prove it. He had the videos to show her. He asked Samantha, could he sexually abuse her daughter? She thought about it. She agreed. And I'm not even sure if she thought about it. And he did. He abused her daughter every chance he got. Matter of fact, Samantha would watch him abuse her daughter. And then she would start taking pictures of him doing it. Memories, right? Jonathan had her write sexual erotica about him abusing his daughter and him abusing her daughter, and she did. Finally, he told her to abuse her own daughter. And she did. And they did it together. December was here. Children love December. Why? Christmas. Santa. Jonathan thought that it would be a great idea to bring Samantha's 2 children to meet his 2 children with Sarah. Unfortunately, this was not a play date. At least, not for the children. As Jonathan was abusing their daughter, probably on Christmas Day, she cried, she screamed. Jonathan called Sarah in the room to watch, like old times. Sarah did nothing but sit there and watch, like she did so many times before, if she wasn't participating. I bet that was the worst Christmas for all 4 of those babies. Jonathan told Sarah that she needed to meet a man that's going to have sex with their little daughter. So when he finally got her, she wasn't yelling and crying and screaming and ruining the moment for him. He probably did say something like that. He's a devil. But he actually did tell her to meet another man to be with their young daughter. And Sarah did what she was told. So she started to chat online with a North Carolina man, Aaron Dixon. She would actually perform sex acts on her children while he watched via Skype. He was all for helping to abuse this little girl, as her ex-husband requested of him. They planned for her to drive to North Carolina and bring the little girl so that this could happen. And you know, a drive to a grown man's home with her little daughter is nothing but gas money for Sarah. Unfortunately for Aaron, he would get arrested. He was actually abusing another child. So he wasn't able to abuse Sarah's daughter. He went to jail. And an FBI agent got a tip. I wonder how. And it was about Sarah. Aaron Dixon was indicted. I couldn't find anything much more on him. Samantha Bryan, the one that had been with Jonathan for like a handful of weeks, and she just gave her baby to him like it was nothing. She received 45 years in prison. Jonathan Adleta, he received 2 consecutive life sentences, so he's never getting out. Never. Sarah would actually turn against her husband, her ex-husband, and she testified against him. She would say stuff like, he forced me, he made me, he manipulated me. You know, like she was a victim too, I guess. By this time, I believe that Sarah's mother had passed away, and her father would tell the judge to give her the harshest sentence possible for what she did to his grandchildren. And Sarah Adleta, she received 54 years. The children, especially the daughter of Sarah and Jonathan, she had the most damage. She was 4 years old, not potty trained. She was underweight, severely malnourished. She had the IQ of an 18-month-old baby. She was so overly sexualized that she had to be removed from the foster care. This really affects the children badly. They remember They're not too young to forget. As I went snooping on social media, I found Sarah's father. He's in a same-sex marriage, seems to be happy. I won't publicly say his name, but he said that March is a very hard month for him because that's the month that his daughter was sentenced. He also said, I'm not giving up on my daughter. He said he sees her twice a month, and I think he moved the state nearest to be close to her. He also said, quote, today, 10 years ago, I lost my daughter to the prison system. End quote. Wrong, Sarah's dad. You lost your daughter because she was a female, incestuous pedophile who has 44 years to go.